So this one was so difficult for me to watch, but I thought I might just try to talk about my honest opinion about what she says.
Okay, what would you say is the most important lesson you've learned in all of this?
I sit here and think, like, what if I were the actual counselor, since I'm in school for counseling and sociology and this is my area of study? I put myself in the position of being a therapist and what I would say to someone like this, which makes me not want to be a licensed therapist, to be honest. I literally, at this time in my life, just feel inadequate to tell people what to do or what my opinion would be. But I know I have to face and practice what actual cases might look like sometime down the road if I'm working with kids and maybe their parents or something. I know I have to face like how I'm actually going to try to help people. What I would say.
Um, I don't, that's hard. It's hard because I don't want to say like keep your guard up. I don't want to say like don't trust people, like, because as I'm like learning and like figuring this out and growing, I definitely I'm looking at life differently. Like not everybody is going.
And definitely all her tattoos signal to me. In studies, they say that when you try to cover your body with tattoos, it's often a sign of childhood trauma, particularly sexual abuse. And it can vary. Of course, it's not the case every time, but generally speaking, that if this is what you do to your body, it's because you're ashamed or afraid of it and want to cover up the past or something like that.
Going to hurt me, where before I would be like on guard all the time. Like this person has an ulterior motive. Like I'm always just like ready. But not everybody is like that, and that's cool. But like my biggest thing is like trust your gut. Like my gut in every situation, when I look back, my gut was telling me it was wrong, or like this isn't okay, and I just like ignored it, or I would like explain away the feeling and be like, no, it's fine.
Like, okay, I'm sorry. Those are some painful tattoos. The fingers, like every knuckle and the neck, that is a painful tattoo process.
They're nice or whatever, but it always ended up turning out not good. So I was like, okay, I was right. Like I just never listened to that feeling inside. That's important. And talk to people in your life, maybe. I mean, I don't feel like I was heard. I tried talking to my mom all the time, and I just didn't feel like she took me seriously, or she didn't believe me. Even when I told her what happened in Detroit, it was, if I tell her now, like I told her I was doing this, and she was like, oh, well, what are you going to talk about? Are you going to talk about me? Like she's more worried about like what she looks like as a mom versus me. Because I remember when I was running away, we sat in this Myers like deli, or they used to have like a little cafe. And she looked at me and she was like, Catherine, like, if you're going to keep running away, like, I'm going to take you home. You can get your stuff and you can go, and I won't tell anybody. Because everybody in the family was trying to find me and get me back. But I think she had reached a point where she was like, you know what? Just fucking go. Just go. So she actually drove me home, helped me get my stuff, took me to the bus stop, and was like, you can go.
And that's exactly it. She's been dismissed. Her dad was never around. When he was in the picture, he showed signs of abuse to like the women in his life. And then she's a troubled teenager. She's now 35, so 20 years ago, 90s, she was a troubled teenager, and instead of her mom, oh, I don't know, taking her to a counselor, maybe going to church. I mean, just things that could like help a spiritually, emotionally wounded child heal, the mom instead tells her no, according to her, right? But tells her no, I'm done helping you. You're 14, 13 years old, and I'll take you to wherever you want to go. What did this mother think? That a little 14-year-old could really live on her own? That one day she would not turn 24 and look back and realize, like, and that's the thing with these boomer generational mothers. I know because I lived it. They are often in such denial of any wrongdoing in their lives or towards their kids, often, that I know from friends and people I've talked to, just it's either scooshed under the rug, never talked about, blatantly denied, is just what it seems like. It seems like to me these boomer generational mothers never apologize, never bring things up. Because even in my own experience, I asked my mother one time something about why she dropped me off on the side of the road when I was 7 because I was being bad. So I jokingly asked her, when should I start dropping my own daughter off on the side of the road when she's bad? And my mother was like, okay, anything else? Because I'm going to get off the phone now. Dismissing me. Dismissing the topic. Dismissing the chance to say, that was a really fucking horrible thing I did. Abandoning you, essentially. Like, making your nervous central system feel all freaking wacky for the rest of your days. Like, abandonment issues. I'm sorry I dropped you off on the side of the road multiple times. I'm sorry I left you home alone, screaming and crying for me at the door when you were 7 years old. Anyways.
And that's when I was like, she really doesn't care at all. Because when she was looking for me and when she would find me, I'd be like, she does love me. It was like this weird, like, validation that I...
Yeah, why does she have to run away? Because her father doesn't seem to want her. Her mother doesn't act like she cares until she runs away. Of course, a little teenage mind is gonna think, oh, that's the way I seek validation. That's the way I get my praise, is even if it's bad, even if running away is bad, once my mother comes looking for me, then I feel somewhat wanted and somewhat secure in some form of it internally. Is probably what this poor girl was going through. And let me just be clear, in my opinion, no child under the age of 18 should ever have to feel abandoned, like in any way.
I needed from her. And then when she did that, I was like, I felt so betrayed by her. And the Inkster police ended up picking me up at a hotel with some dude that I was like, this was before like the pimp situation, with some dude I was like hanging out with, and his name was Anthony, and he was probably 40. And they broke in the hotel room, and I was there like naked, and I was like 13, I think, at the time. And they grabbed me, like wrapped me up in a blanket, grabbed me and took me to the police station. My mom came to get me, and I remember hearing the detective, because I told the detective, I was like, my mom told me I could come. And that like was not good for me to say. Because like I heard the detective talking to my mom, and he was like, you're wasting our fucking time. Like, you told your daughter, your minor child, that she could go to a hotel with this man that is in his 30s. He also has this in this case. Like, he was telling her all the cases he had. And he's like, you're gonna let your daughter go and like be with him and have sex with him, and you know that, and you're okay with it? And like, he was like
And people like can't believe that like the Kardashian thing could happen where the mom sells their daughter, and people can't believe that,
screaming her. And I felt so guilty because like I was the reason that was happening. I just like tore up her whole life during that period. I don't think she ever forgave me for that.
Like, so
Um, I don't think the mother needs to be getting forgiveness anyways when she's literally the one who should be taking care of you, watching out for your needs until you are 18, 19 years old and ready to go face the world. That's just my opinion. She shouldn't be forgiving you. She should be seeking your forgiveness.
Oh, like it's all your fault.
I mean, it was. I was running away. Like, and none of it would have happened if I would have stayed home.
And yes, let's say I'm like dealing with a little teeny bopper who is running away. As a school counselor, I'm gonna be like, there is a reason. Let's delve to the reason of this. Let's find the reason you want to run away from your home.
I suspect there's something that made you run away.
Exactly.
Yeah, what was it? I had like a nice house. Like, it wasn't a house, it was an apartment. But like, I had a boom box. I had a TV. Like, we had cute dogs. Like, I don't know why.
Because you're seeking love and not feeling it, and it can probably only actually come from the Lord, but it should resonate with our own families. Like, our parents and our families should love and protect each and every one of us, but we're finding out that that's just not always the case.
I don't know. I don't know if I will ever know. But yeah, I don't know. Teenage girls are overlooked or over-sexualized, and I feel like that's a huge issue. I feel like teenage girls that are like showing their midriff or like shorts. I mean, in school you're told like, don't distract boys, don't distract teachers. Like, why are you wearing that? How are teachers supposed to do their job when you're wearing that? Why is a teacher sexualizing me? It's summer. Like, I can't wear like a tank top, you know? Like, it was just so like that like cycle that you're taught, you know, as a young girl. It affects you like your whole life. You're just like, oh, I can't do this or I can't do that, or I can't like walk alone. I can't wear a skirt. You know, like if I do, I'm wearing like crazy ass like Spanx so nobody could ever take them off. It's like I'm always like premeditating like where I'm going and like what to wear and how to be safe and make sure I'm not looking like I want a man to like approach me. And teenage girls go through that like their whole life. And I think that's where it starts. Or like a dad being absent. That's where it starts. Dads like cause so much shit when they like walk away. Like, I just don't think they understand like the hole they leave.
What percentage of the fathers have been present in the interviews I've got on my channel? I'd say it's like 1%.
Yeah.
2%.
I don't think very many. And if they are present, it was like a bad experience.
Yeah, that's that too.
Yeah.
Because they're off curing cancer somewhere.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So I think that's like a huge thing. I don't know. Instead of like assuming a young girl like wants sexual attention or she's a whore because she's like out there like in the streets doing like dumb shit like I was doing, like maybe pull her aside and like have a conversation with her instead of like making her feel shameful or grounding her or like negatively reacting. Like, I notice with my kids, if they're like throwing a tantrum or they're having a meltdown, like if I just grab them and hug them, like it diffuses it.
Yeah.
Instead of like
Shaming them.
instead of like going like this, like just like bring them in, you know, like